Welcome back to the Women's Basketball Summit, the online platform for players, coaches, and parents. I am super excited today to be talking to my good friend, Colleen Mullen. She's a New England girl like me. She just got the head coach job at the University of Albany, so I'm super stoked to talk to her. So, Colleen, welcome to the call.
Thanks so much, Jen. Excited to be here.
So before we get into kind of new head coach and what you're going to be focusing on this year, let's talk about this. You and I actually played against each other in high school because we were close in towns. Let's talk about your playing career, high school, where you ended up in college, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So I grew up in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, and I grew up, young kid, interested in all kinds of sports, going to local camps, really got interested in basketball through going to the Holy Cross overnight camp and the Bentley basketball camp. But there wasn't a ton of opportunities for young girls at the time. But I played every sport, and I just really started to fall in love with basketball, started envisioning myself being a starter on the varsity team, and then playing basketball in high school and starting to think that maybe I had an opportunity to play at the next level. I joined a AAU program, which at the time there was only three teams in Massachusetts. So I commuted down to Cape Cod 2.5 hours after driver's ed. My poor dad driving me down to practice. And was fortunate enough to be offered a few scholarships to different schools, and ended up deciding to choose to go to University of Rhode Island, which unfortunately didn't work out the way I thought it would work out. But I did have an unbelievable opportunity to transfer after my sophomore year to the University of New Hampshire, where I ended up being, I graduated from. I competed against you in the America East Conference and had a really great career as just a solid point guard, somebody that prided myself on making everybody around me better. I wasn't by far the best player on the team or in the league, but I had a terrific career. I was able to play a lot, and I started all 4 years and had an unbelievable experience.
Nice. So when you finished at UNH, did you go right into coaching?
Well, Jen, I tried to get into coaching for a year, and as many people know, trying to get into the coaching profession is really, really can be a very daunting task. You really have to call on coaches that recruited you and other networks, and unfortunately at the time, not a lot of opportunities were available at the time. So I spent 1 year, I applied for probably 300 plus jobs on NCAA.org. There wasn't social media at the time to really learn about other positions. So I did beverage sales for a year and human resources, and waited till kind of the next cycle of years to apply. And I went back to my applications. I was FedExing cover letters on the regular, and I had the opportunity. A woman named Carol Hammerly, she was the head coach at Northern Illinois, saw my resume from Massachusetts. She happened to be from Lee, Mass. So I packed up my Pathfinder and headed out to DeKalb, Corn Country, Illinois, from the Boston area. And, it was an unbelievable opportunity. I became the director of operations, and that's how I got into coaching. Unfortunately, 9 months later, she got let go. So I packed my Pathfinder back up and headed back home, and luckily landed with one of my mentors now, Karen Pinkos, who is the head coach at Southern New Hampshire University, and I became her top assistant her first year.
I actually did not know that story about you, and I'm glad you shared it, because I think a lot of players that might want to be coaches or coaches now that are young, I think people think it's easy just to get a coaching job. So I'm glad you shared that story. So all right, so how long were you at Southern New Hampshire?
So I was Karen's top assistant for 2 years at Southern New Hampshire, and then I moved on and had an opportunity to move out to Lehigh Valley and work at Lehigh University, which was a really unique, different challenge than I had because Southern New Hampshire is obviously in a really great Division II league, the Northeast 10 Conference. And then I moved over to the Patriot League and kind of spread my wings again. I was never somebody I'm always a homebody, and I wanted to be close to home in Massachusetts. But unfortunately, in this profession, you have to be willing to go where the jobs are and the opportunities are. And I had a unique experience of working at a very high academic institution with a terrific basketball reputation under Sue Troyan, who became a terrific mentor for me as well. But I called upon my experience at the Division II level, and I've called on my experience at the Division II level through my whole career. As at the Division II level, you truly have to do every single thing within a program. You have to wear every hat. You have to be able to do the travel and the fundraising, and you really have to have that work ethic because you're understaffed. And that's why I've hired a couple D2 assistants on my staff, because they really know what it takes to put together a successful program.
Nice. So before we get to you being the head coach now, I know you spent a lot of time at Army. So talk about your time at Army.
Yeah, my time at Army was unbelievable experience. We had an unprecedented amount of success at the academy in my 7 years. We went to 4 straight postseason tournaments, 2 NCAA appearances, 2 WNIT appearances, 6 straight 20-win seasons. It was unbelievable. And it really prepared me, I feel like, for this opportunity to be a head coach, mostly because, of the manager and mentor that I had in Dave McGarity. He is a coach that's been coaching he coached on the men's side. He's one of 2 coaches that has taken both men and women to an NCAA tournament at the college level. And he has over 40 plus years of experience. And to understand the way he mentors is really to understand why I was given such an opportunity to develop as a coach and to really truly feel prepared for this opportunity. In my first year, I was the recruiting coordinator in charge of the recruiting. I was thrown into the fire of 1,000 plus student athletes that we recruit per class, which is an enormous amount of prospective student athletes. And then slowly but surely, I'm just the type of person that's a space taker. I've always been, as a point guard, I always prided myself as an extension of the coach on the floor. So I always had a strong, confident coaching voice. So if I saw space, I would kind of take it within a program. And Coach McGarity was the type of guy is like, if there's space and you want to take it, then knock yourself out, go run with it. And he really gave me a lot of trust, a lot of responsibility. And organically, I just had a strong voice on the staff. I was promoted after 1 year to become the associate head coach. And really in that role, I was given the opportunity to just do things that I don't think many other coaches would be able to do in that position. And that's one of the reasons too, not just the success, but why I had such a long tenure there. Because I looked at other jobs and I said, this is an amazing job. I was able to manage the staff. I had experience. I did the entire lesson plans for the year. I did all of our offense and defensive schemes. I ran every practice. I oversaw our scouting, our opponent strategies for how we would defend, and what offenses we would run for our opponents. I was in charge of making all the in-game calls. I did all the timeout, special situations, offensive calls, defensive calls, substitutions. And Coach McGarity was the type of guy, it was like I was a head coach with training wheels. That's how I kind of compared it. I had all this say, but I had him to lean on for advice and guidance. But also when I made mistakes, and boy, did I make a lot of mistakes. And coaching is failure. Basketball is the game of mistakes. I had to live with those and I had to learn from my mistakes, and I was held accountable for those things that, maybe the play that I called that wasn't the right call, but being able to have to work at the right school that I believed in the mission of the school, and working for the right boss and the right mentor really was the defining moment of me getting to this point and being ready and prepared to be a successful head coach.
When did you know you wanted to be a head coach? Because it sounds like you had a great situation there. Like, when did you know, and how did you know this was the right school to be at?
Yeah. I knew I wanted to be a head coach. I knew I wanted to be a coach when I was in college. And I think after my experience of transferring, it really solidified my desire to be a head coach because, or just be in coaching, because I really understood the lasting impact a coach has on young people. When I was at Rhode Island, I was in a bad situation. I was playing in a program. I learned a lot of what doesn't work as a coach. And I think the second opportunity at UNH that Coach Johnson provided me, that I saw, how positive a coach could be and how much of an influence they could be in giving you an opportunity to treat you like, a human being, but how much I knew that impacted my life. I really wanted to be a part of that. And then within my career as just being a point guard as a natural a coach, I felt like once I got to West Point and I was in this experience, I kind of was like, well, maybe, we've had success. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could see myself doing this. But I really always, even as an assistant coach, I took a lot of pride in mentoring younger assistants, taking other assistants under my wing, leading and mentoring a staff. And really as a head coach, the biggest difference so far in the 3 months that I've been a head coach is just the ability to delegate, to count on other people, and to be able to lead and mentor your staff and your players, and the decisions that you have to make on a daily basis. So for me, in being in that role, I felt like Coach McGarry put me in a position where I was able to make a lot of decisions, have to sit with those decisions, manage other people, and really ultimately the buck was going to stop with me. And I was kind of ready for that. I guess, I don't know if you're ever ready for it, but I guess I was as ready as I could be for this opportunity. And then I did have some other opportunities to interview for some other schools to be a head coach. But I knew that the number one non-negotiable I wanted to work at a great academic school. I never wanted to sit in front of a student athlete and their parents and talk about their academic, the future degree that their daughter would get, and have it not be a strong degree. I wanted to feel really good about what I was selling to parents. I wanted to feel really good about the basketball and social experience that they would have at a school, and me being a graduate of a state school at the University of New Hampshire. I feel unbelievably great about my state education, and having the opportunity to come to UAlbany with their history of success within the America East at a state school. I just thought it was the perfect fit for me.
Nice. So you took over about, I think, around May. So it's been a few months. Since you've gotten on campus, what has been your focus this summer and this postseason?
Yeah, my main focus, besides, keeping my head on straight, was just to build relationships, most importantly with my players, and really start to, get to know them, have them get to know me, have them see me as a person, get to know my family. I've got 3 small kids. Get to know my wife, and just really be a part of me. And so that we could start to build the trust process. Because as a player, if you don't have that trust with your coaches, if you don't truly believe that they have your best interests in mind and you can trust them with whatever's going on, you can never really play your best at your optimal level and really play for them and buy into what they're doing. So just really trying to build those relationships, and then build those relationships across the athletic department, across the university, getting to know other coaches, really being visible within the athletic department. Really just, getting to know our president, other main liaisons on campus to start to build communication networks and stuff, so that I can have these people as resources. They're the ones that know the school the best, and I need to call upon them to help me with this adjustment period. So really building relationships was the first thing. The second thing, really was putting together my staff. That was really, really difficult. It wasn't difficult because I got lucky and got unbelievable staff, but just being so thoughtful in the process of who I wanted to hire, how I wanted to hire them, the types of people that I wanted to have within my program that were going to be an extension of myself. So I took my time really putting together the staff that I feel like is dynamic and brings a unique set of skill sets to the table. And then the last piece is just recruiting. Recruiting is something it's an inexact science. It doesn't have a start or an end. It's ongoing, but just trying to get the word out of the change in who I am and the future of UAlbany women's basketball, and starting to build relationships with the up and coming recruits, the high school, getting really acclimated with the local talent, the local AAU teams, and really starting to just, again, talk about the future of UAlbany basketball.
Nice. I mean, I'm excited to see you coach this season, and Albany is a great, basketball school, but I'm looking forward to you kind of putting your stamp on it and just continue to build the program. So preseason is around the corner, and then obviously upcoming season. What is going to be kind of your focus, and then what are your kind of expectations as we go into the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the kids are moving in this weekend, so it's really exciting. We're going to have our first team meeting on Monday. Everything's starting up right now. And again, it's just about building our culture. That's the number one thing for me, and my focus and our staff's focus is just starting to really build who we are, how we're going to define ourselves. And for me, there's a couple expectations that I have. Number one is that everybody's a great teammate. And on the court, off the court, you're a great teammate. You're being a positive value added to the program. The second thing is that, there's no replacement for hard work, that we don't coach effort. You're going to go as hard as you can the whole time, and you're going to compete at a high level. Another thing that's really important is just being responsible and being respectful, whether you're in your dorm, whether you're in the community, whether you're at Crossgates Mall down the street, or you're in the locker room. You're representing yourself, your team, the university in a way that's a great role model for young people. Because at the end of the day, we have a huge responsibility. There's always eyes on us no matter where we are. And to be able to show, number one, that we're strong women that can be successful, developing future leaders, but also that, young people are aspiring to be just like them and having and understanding that. And just the last piece is being unbelievably coachable. And I think when you're able to listen and be coachable in anything, you're going to go on and be a terrific professional, because sports teaches you all those life lessons. But for me, it's always about how coachable you are. And do you trust me to know that when I'm coaching you, it's because I'm trying to get you to where I know you can be. And I'm trying to help you get to become the best player that you can be so you can help the team be successful. And kind of the last piece of that is just how you handle adversity, because I always say Olympians miss shots. Olympians have turnovers, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but what do you do with those mistakes? How do you handle adversity? And, do you learn from your mistakes, and do you use it to fuel you, or do you use it to be frustrated and show, negative body language? And I think in the preseason and going into the season, those types of intangible things that I prided myself on, because look at me. I mean, I'm not the example of athleticism, I am sitting, but I'm 5'2". So, but like you and myself, we were competitors, and we wanted to prove people wrong. But we took pride in all the little things and did, we controlled the controllables, and that's why we had great careers. And I look for that in my players, and I talk about that. And that's about building a culture, the positive culture that I want to have within my program. And then the basketball piece just follows after that.
Nice. I mean, I love that you said we don't coach effort. I 100% agree with that. And I think just watching these players with adversity, because, in college, like we had it made in the shade playing like Division I. We really did. When these kids complain to me, I'm like, welcome to the real world, because let me tell you, it's going to be 30 times harder with the adversity. So it's great that you're trying to, obviously you make them better basketball players, have a great team, but you're trying to make them better individuals and prepare them for real life. So again, I'm a fan. I am super excited for you. So last question as we wrap up. I know you did not have the best playing experience at Rhode Island, and then you were fortunate enough when you went to UNH. You have a great mentor, a great friend in Sue Johnson. What would be your advice for all the players listening, kind of just to like get through a tough situation and shine on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, I think, my advice is that, you have to be, number one, you always have to be true to yourself. And I think it's really hard because, as a young athlete, you're always taught to not be a quitter and to not give up on things and to persevere. And I think sometimes people, it's hard to determine what you should push through and what's not right. But I can say that experience has taught me so much, and it's so easy to say that in hindsight's 2020, but I really, to go back, I wouldn't change it, because it's truly defined who I am. It provided me perspective when I was at UNH, where I had teammates that thought it was hard, and I was like, this ain't hard. You don't know what hard is. This is not hard. This is a walk. This is amazing. We should be grateful, and we should have gratitude for the opportunities that we have. But you're going to go through ups and downs. And I know my dad used to say it to me all the time after a game. I'd be hysterically crying in high school, and he said, you know what, Colleen, you're not going to remember this game in 10 years. I know it sounds like it's like at the end of the world, you just lost to Haverhill and, you know, you're upset, but you're not going to remember this. And to try to eliminate the peaks and valleys of not trying to get too high when things are going really well and not try to get too low, you know, when you're having a bad game or you had a couple bad games in a stretch or you're in a bad situation, is that, you know, roll with the punches. There's going to be a lot of adversity. But you also have to be true to yourself. If you feel like it's not the right situation, then you need to evaluate it, but you also have to be resilient in the face of adversity. And I think that knowing that I went through that and got to this point and finished and had a successful career, and I'm sitting here, I'm the perfect example of, you know, pushing through adversity and making the best of the situation and learning from the experience.
Yeah, nice. And I also think it probably makes you a better coach because you're able to relate with your players better. So for people that are listening, if they want to follow you guys this year, where can they find you? Like, are you guys big, like Twitter, Instagram, or website? Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find us on Twitter, UAlbany WBB. They can follow me, Coach Mull 2. Our website, UAlbanysports.com. I'm so used to saying that. I got to get used to my new job here. See, Albany. But yeah, I mean, please follow us, follow our career. We'll be on Watch ESPN app for all of our games, streamed live, and we appreciate. And if anybody has questions that they have about the recruiting process or questions they want to ask me, they can contact me directly at cmullen@albany.edu.
Awesome. Like I said, you'll be close to hopefully where I am in the New England area, so I'll have to catch a couple games. So I'm wishing you the best of luck this season, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jen. Good job.